friends, how's your trading day going? I just wanted to look at something happening here in the auction, specifically around a behavior. And as auction theorists, we're behaviorists as it comes to the auction. And so we are often trying to find places where someone is exhibiting a behavior that is catching them out or getting them trapped. And if you've been around markets for some time, you know the idea of something called a squeeze. It's where someone who's mispositioned and is getting run out of that position. But the question is how do you see that? How do you know that, and ultimately take advantage of that? So I want to look at an area that I was active this afternoon and how I was able to see that. So just some broad context. Yesterday's a big sell-off in the equities. Today, kind of some responsive trading higher, totally inside of the prior day's range. So kind of a hard day to trade, quite frankly. We're kind of around, been around the 7104 level all day. Early we were looking for the 7030, never got there. Neutral day. But given that it's a neutral day, let's look inside this a little bit more closely. So say it's a neutral day. Neutral day means there's not a lot of directional conviction. We kind of already know that. We're inside the prior day's range. It's an inside day. But because of yesterday's trade, we're looking at traders who are likely trying to get short. In fact, I was one of them. And when we couldn't get followed through early, when we were unable to really push below this low, that was a time for me to bail. But there are obviously likely some who stuck around, even some late day traders who are trying to be short. And where are they getting? They're getting squeezed. So anybody who was trying to trade and be short in this area of inventory, this is kind of through lunch hours, they were squeezed here. And then there was another area where we were approaching the IB high, and then they got squeezed again, which looked like we were just going to go to the races. So here's where I want to look specifically. This is post-lunch trade. You can see on the profile we're up here in thin volume, and note these are 5-minute periods overlaid on 30-minute histograms, and I want you to take note specifically of this 5-minute period. Okay. The reason that I want you to take a look at that, so this is what you're looking at is you're looking at delta of bid and ask volume. So how many contracts traded on the bid versus how many on the ask. This is filtered for 10 contracts or more. So when you see zeros, that means that there was no trades that were more than 10 contracts. And at the bottom, I have the net number for that period. A negative number on this platform is a positive. It means it's buying order flow. If it's a negative number, then it's selling order flow. So here we have a pretty big number in buying, plus you can see at each level we're seeing some pretty significant buying as well. So there's decent volume, which should lead to higher prices. It should lead to higher prices. You've got buying order flow. Here was a really big one. Buying order flow, cumulative buying, and yet we can't make higher prices. And in fact, this next 5-minute, we're almost canceling out this 475, and then the next 5-minute, then you start to see more to the sell side, and that really kind of put in the top for the near term, and then we traded back to the point of control. So what was happening? Why you're not getting higher, even though you got higher order flow, you've got people being aggressive buying, is because the aggressive buying is buying to get out. It's not buying to get in. That's the difference. And so when you see somebody buying to get out, they're being squeezed. Somebody hit their loss limit, somebody hit how much they were willing to risk to the short side, and they decided to give up. So this is how we can use things like order flow and cumulative delta and delta at price along with the profile to give us an edge. Because once you see them squeezing and then returning back below those lows, then that allows you to set this as a risk parameter and then a target, and the target was back to the current day's point of control. So that's just a kind of a glimpse in terms of the intraday activity and behavior that can take place, and specifically around somebody getting squeezed. Hope that's helpful. If you want some more insight into peeling that apart and looking at it, feel free to reach out and talk to our team. We'd be happy to steer you in that direction, and even how you can use that here in Window Trader, which is the platform that we're using, which allows us to kind of see all of this stuff in one window. And in any time that you can look in one window and see everything that you need to see, it'll minimize distractions and it'll increase performance. All right, peace.